Hi everyone, welcome to the show of top platforms. It's been a while, I know, but I usually do these whenever I'm bored. But since today is the 40th anniversary of Gradius, I thought I'd do a video of showing you my favorite ports, official and unofficial. Be aware this video may contain hacks of the original. It's only for improvements. So with that aside, let's get to the video. As you see here, this is the original arcade game of Gradius. Graphically, it's known as Nemesis outside of Japan. You control the ship, Vic Viper, and your mission is to get past all the 7 stages with various amounts of enemies, with almost all bosses being Big Core at the end of each stage. And as the last boss, being the Brain, which is actually very easy to take down. The game features a power-up system which is known as the Power Meter. And to purchase some power-ups, you must collect power capsules to select which power-up you want for your ship. One capsule is for selecting the power-ups, being speed, missile, double, laser, option or multiple, and the special shield, which does wear off after many hits, so you better make sure you be wise with those shields. I've been practicing this game for about 4 to 5 years, but it might not be possible to show you all the stages since I'm more of a pro at stage 1. So I'll probably show you stage 1 mostly, and maybe some future stages, like stage 2 sometimes. As I'm also going to tell you the other ports that don't translate the arcade game very well. It's all of the Western home computer ports in Europe, as they were all terrible with crappy controls, drab graphics, cheap deaths, and worst of all, the worst collision detection ever. Highly recommended to avoid all of these. Except for maybe the US version of the Commodore 64 Gradius, as it has cheats if you want to go through all the stages without dying. Now on to the ports! Number 14. NEC PC 88. This is one of the Japanese computer ports released in floppy disk. I've gotta say, this is a really good conversion on the hardware. While it may not look too colorful, and the movement is pretty jerky, the gameplay is still very nice. The soundtrack is also really good, trying to make a close rendition to the arcade original. Overall, this is a nice way to start the show. Number 13. Sharp X1. This is another Japanese computer port. It's pretty much like the PC-88 version, but now it's much more colorful, and the movement is much better. It even controls well enough too. The music here may sound a bit different, but it sounds very well done for the PSG audio. There's a modded version of this as well, as the music has given a boost with that awesome Yamaha sound. And best of all, it now lets you have more multiples for the power-ups than in the original X1. It can also have even more colors when being played on the Sharp X1 Turbo Z. How about that for cool? Number 12. MSX. This is one of the first releases of Gradius from Konami, as Konami also did make other games it had on the arcade or maybe tried being original. It actually came a few months before the Famicom version. When booting up the game, you do get a basic title screen with the logo, and the select screen being 1 or 2 players. But the actual port is very good. Sure, the colors may not look right, and the scrolling is completely choppy, but the controls are well done, and so is the audio on that PSG chip. The interesting things about this port is that when you plug a Twinbee on the second cartridge slot in the MSX machine, you get to play as Twinbee instead of Vic Viper. And it also has an extra stage, being the Space Graveyard. Next thing you'll figure out is that there are a few secret warps that lead you to the bonus stages that can skip bosses and a few progress of the level you're in. These bonus stages give you a lot more power capsules and other capsules that give you a lot more points and extra lives. Oh, and the PC-88 and the Sharp X1 versions do the same, except you collect bells. One more thing, there's also an SCC version of this port as well, which Konami released in 1989. The SCC version can be found in Game Collection Volume 3 in a floppy disk. The audio has also improved. In fact, the music in SCC sounds excellent! It sounds even better than the arcade original. Unfortunately, the SCC version does have slowdown when things get busy, but you can try learning to get the hang of it. Overall, this is a very good game that all MSX owners should have. Number 11. ColecoVision. The ColecoVision never had an official port of Gradius ever since the console got discontinued around 1985. So in 2016, Opcode Games have released this homebrew of Gradius to the ColecoVision at Atari Age stores. It was later long gone after a few years of being sold, until it got re-released in 2023. It's pretty much the same as the MSX version, but now with improved graphics trying to look like the original arcade game, and it has a couple of options. The game mode has either arcade, which lets you go through all 7 stages and then loop, and the MSX mode, which adds the Space Graveyard. You also get difficulty settings, auto fires that can be turned on or off, a music test, and even power-up mode, which selects the power-up for you in auto mode, or select your own power-ups by 2 buttons using the manual mode. Playing on a standard ColecoVision controller is very stiff, but you can also play this by either using an Atari joystick, a Sega Genesis controller, or you can also get custom ColecoVision controllers or arcade joysticks from retro Game Boys, for example. I'm playing this with a ColecoVision arcade joystick to give the arcade experience. Oh, and this version also requires a Super Game module to play. Apologies for the video quality as I'm recording this on my phone pointing at my CRT with the RF quality playing on my standard ColecoVision system. But if you have a CollectorVision Phoenix, you can enjoy this game in a very high quality. But either way, this is yet another good port that's recommended, even for Super Game Module fans. Number 10. MSX2. Yet another port from the MSX version, but this time on the MSX2. This is known as Gradius Enhanced. We have a lot of improvements with this one, such as so many colors to match the arcade, smooth scrolling, and best of all, the SCC audio is still here, making this the best version of the MSX Gradius. Oh, and this version also has a voice set that says the power-up you collect. Victor Martinez has done very well with this improvement. Number 9. NEC PC-98. The NEC PC-98 never got an official Gradius port, but it did have Gradius 95, which was actually a different game. But on an unknown year, there's a hack of Gradius 95 known as Nemesis, which actually sounds a bit close to Nemesis. But otherwise, this one actually plays like the original Gradius, which is why I featured it in the video. This plays and looks so close to the arcade original, and has the audio which sounds pretty good. But we also get the exclamation point, which kills all of the enemies on screen when you select it after you collect all 7 power capsules. Maybe the game hacker forgot to disable that option. But overall, this unlicensed hack is a lot better than I expected it to play. Number 8. Nintendo Entertainment System / Famicom. The original Famicom version was the first port of Gradius to be released in April 25th, 1986 in Japan. The NES port of this was later released in the States in December 1986, and in 2 years later in Europe. This is the American NES port you're seeing, by the way. As many people seem to think it's a great port for an 8-bit console, I do agree it plays well, but not as accurate as this ROM hack of Gradius known as Gradius Arrangement Chronicle Death. This hack improves of what the original didn't do. As you can see, this improves the graphics, music, and even follows the arcade rules as it should be. This is highly recommended for those who have their NES / Famicom flash carts, or NES Classic mini consoles. Number 7. Java Mobile Phone. There are many official versions of Gradius for the Java-based mobile phones back in the day. One version from 2004 was one of them, but the resolution was so low and the gameplay wasn't good at all. But we are taking a look at this 2008 release in China. As you can see, this follows the arcade game very well, even in a vertical screen. It has 3 music tracks, but only one level soundtrack plays every time you enter through a level until the boss stage. It might annoy you after a while, but it's better to listen to other music when playing this. This game auto-fires, so you only press one button for the power-up selection, which is a plus as moving around your ship, though it's a little sluggish. But you could do a lot worse than this version of Gradius, as it also lets you select which level, though it's all in Chinese. Still a very good version of Gradius to play on your old Java-based mobile phone. I actually beat this version, mind you, and that's no joke. As you can see in this footage, I was so close to beat the game, for the second time. Number 6. PC Engine. Now I know you people seem to think that this is the best version of Gradius out there since it has better music than the arcade original, and even plays better, but you know what? I'll have to agree and admit it does. The graphics do look a little bit darker, and I doubt that people care about that. Either way, yes, another good version of Gradius out there, but which port of Gradius will be number 1? Let's wait to find out. Number 5. Amiga. This is known as Tiniest, as the Amiga never actually had an official Gradius port, but the developer has done a nice job replicating the arcade original. All of this is running on an Amiga 1200. We even get a few options for lives and credits, and even music and sound tests. The music has its nice Amiga arrangements to it for the system. Oh, and this version also uses 2 buttons, so there is no need to move over to the keyboard. Number 4. Sharp X68000. The Sharp X68000 is expected to have very high quality arcade ports, and this here by Sharp SPS is no exception. This plays perfectly apart from the music sounding a little bit different compared to the arcade game. So there is a modded version that has arcade perfect music, along with the button for credits at the title screen, minus the configuration from the original SPS version. Yup, the X68000 has done it again, despite the original SPS having different music compared to the hack it's got. Number 3. PlayStation. The PlayStation version can be found on Gradius Deluxe Pack along with Gradius 2. It's also available on the Sega Saturn and on Windows 95 on Windows Edition. What you get is a lovely boot-up screen like the arcade original, which you can skip to the point, and a load of options which you can configure the controls for shooting, missiles, and power-ups, selecting how many lives you want up to 7, and you can change the resolution to arcade screen, stretched mode to fit the screen, or a full console resolution for a better view. It also plays very well with the button for rapid fire with the missiles for an easier gameplay. Pretty much the third best way to play Gradius on the console that isn't emulated. Number 2. PlayStation Portable. In Gradius Collection, or Gradius Portable in Japan, you can find a version of the original Gradius here. Just like the PlayStation version, you have so many options to choose, but you get a very wider screen for an HD version to play on your PSP screen. This, just like in Gradius Deluxe Pack, is an arcade emulation of the ROM, but reprogrammed for the PSP. This is the best way to play Gradius on the go, and anywhere that's official and not emulated in a modern system. We're getting close to the end, so this last one will surprise you. And finally, number 1, PC Engine Mini. Now this is the best version to play Gradius. This can be hidden on a PC Engine Mini or the TurboGrafx 16 Mini. To access the game, you go to the original PC Engine Gradius and then press start while you hold the select button. This right here is known as Near Arcade Gradius for the PC Engine. It was hard to find the ROM until a person dumped the ROM to play in emulators or in real hardware. As you can see, even with the PC Engine screen resolution, this looks and sounds exactly like the arcade version much more closely. The gameplay is similar to the original PC Engine version, but this is as accurate as you can get to a vintage console in the mid and late 1980s, which is why it's number 1. Overall, this is the best port of Gradius on a console that isn't emulated. Well, it looks like we covered up every port of Gradius. Now for the bonuses I didn't cover. There was an official Konami handheld LCD game, but it was a different game and I had no idea what to say about it. There were also other versions of Gradius that are more likely arranged, such as the Game Boy version, which may not look like the arcade game, but it's close. The Game Boy Color has the same as the Game Boy, but in color. Let's just say, both on the Game Boy and Game Boy Color were very good. The Super Nintendo version may be found in The Legend of the Mystical Ninja, but it's more of a minigame, and only lets you have one life and it only has one stage. The Master System had a Korean release in 1987 by Zemina, but to me, it's more of an SG-1000 game as they do love porting MSX games to the Master System. The Game Boy Advance had a Gradius game, but it's actually titled Gradius Galaxies. It has new obstacles and new enemies, but it does play similar to Gradius, so it's a nice game for the Game Boy Advance. And lastly, the Wii also had a Gradius game at WiiWare, and it's titled Gradius Rebirth. It does have a story at the beginning of the game, but when playing, it does look like it follows the arcade game faithfully. Just like the Game Boy Advance at Gradius Galaxies, it has a few new enemies, but the music sounds great. Pretty good for the hardware and in Dolphin emulator. And lastly, I want to say something about Gradius Origins. The game is releasing on August 7th, 2025, as it does have every arcade ROM version of Gradius, along with the prototype arcade ROM and along with other games, Salamander or Life Force, Gradius 2, Gradius 3, Salamander 2, and the newest title, Salamander 3. I really hope you all enjoy the game for your Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, and on Steam. This might be the greatest way to play the arcade versions of Gradius on a console. Thanks for watching the top platforms of Gradius and happy 40th anniversary to Gradius. See you all next time. Peace.